everybody, thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be taking a look at Micah Rockandroll's Orange Flavor, your new favorite alt-comedy anthology. 10 alt-comedy comics packed with ideas so astounding you'll be raided by the FBI. This is something I'm assuming the author Micah Rockandroll gave to Sean. It was in a box of stuff that Sean passed on to me, but enjoyed this pretty well. There's a lot of like social commentary in here that I can get on board with. So right here in the beginning, the mascot here, the lovable mascot Sody, says, "Hiya, the name's Sody. Welcome to Orange Flavor, a comic full of surprises." And then we have some comics fans on the side. There better not be any woke crap in it. And then on the other side, there better not be anything problematic I need to report. Would you excuse me for a moment? Eat lead, freaks, and he shoots him up. I can totally get on board with that. Both sides in these debates are really annoying. And then Sody says, "Sorry, you had to see that. Orange Flavor isn't about that. It's about exploring ideas and having fun." And then we get Who's Left Over. "Sounds cool. Does Orange Flavor explore ephinophilia by any chance? Does it have anything fun and plain for old-fashioned perverts?" And he says, "Oof, we gotta get some more bullets." So I think this is definitely by someone like myself who's more of a centrist and is kind of tired of the wild people on all sides, and then even, like pointing out like the people who tend to be perceived as having problems with both sides are then put in like this grumpy white male incel thing, and also poking fun at that. So it's good to know there's some more middle people out there. The first story is called Poor. It's very much about growing up in the 90s. This says in upstate New York, and it's very nostalgic. Some of the stuff in here I guess could be like things that could piss people off, but it's also very representative of the times. And I think that's one of the main things with this book is this is someone like around my age, grew up in the 90s, and just hasn't been able to like myself, there's some behaviors that have been hard to modify as the world moves by us. So like here, the brothers are making fun of each other, and they says, "Here's a dress for you, because you're gay." So like gay jokes can't make that anymore. But this is a creator who wants to write about that time and wants to be able to make those jokes because it's accurate. Then these characters are going to church. This is obviously a much more intense church than the one I grew up in. It's called the Barn of Faith. There's something in the back about growing up in a really tight, strict religious environment. I grew up in like a big kind of mega church environment, but that kind of churchiness of the 90s feels really right to me. The family drives a big van. I mean, we didn't have a big van like this, but my mom having just a big minivan. Something about this drawing with the little arm seats down like feels really right to me. But like me and all the guys in like my high school band and my brother and his friends all getting piled into the van, like there's just like a kind of a lot of nostalgia in there. The cheesy Christian t-shirts, just different things like that. Then at the bottom they're playing, "Oh, another Super Nintendo game. What do you say, Zach?" So like Super Nintendo. That one was just fun to me. The Super Soaker fight that they have here, there's your weapons of war. You can have all of these different Super Soakers. That's definitely something that me and my brother did. And then I think it's really fun here. You have them being like very, very poor people. They're kind of come up with their own water fight toys and water fight tools that they have. So they have like just cut up 7-Up bottles that they've taped and glued together, anything like that they can get a hold of, where they can't afford the $270 water backpack or the $150 Gatling gun thing. The cheapest one's like a $40 basic Super Soaker. So they were being creative and came up with their own. Like, just that's kind of the vibe of that first story. There's a very, very funny little strip here dealing at the end of it all, dealing with the religious side of things. "Haha, religious idiots. I'm a big city atheist. You'll never catch me looking for answers in ancient texts that have survived thousands of years against all odds. Everything I need to know can be found about the human condition can be found right here on my phone. And then you see the character just like doom scroll to death. So I think that's an appropriate criticism as well. You know, that there's kind of this constant like move to the forefront right now, and anything that's from older age is kind of seen as being part of like oppressive systems and things like that. Just saying like, hey, you know, you don't even need to be religious or whatever, but like maybe there's some wisdom to like our shared histories and things like that. So I just like these little shots that are be taken. They're kind of funny. Then there's a story here that has some wisdom for Marcus Aurelius. So I think probably looking at the Stoicism that I know is kind of a popular thing right now. But I particularly like the orange flavor bulletin board. They're talking about social media to some extent, but the idea that we've always been like posting and talking shit in public. So like here there's these posts and people have gone through and like crossed it out and wrote pubic and like drew a dick on it, drawn all over it, made extra notes. So basically like these bathroom chatter things, you know, these little messages where people go on trails of talking to each other in the bathroom and things like that, showing that that's always a human behavior that we've had. I've always thought it'd be really interesting to try and run a public like Facebook where you just go, instead of posting online on Twitter, you go tack it to a big bulletin board or a chalkboard. I tried to do that in grad school and it didn't really work, but really like that idea here, that comparison here. This piece is Dr. Herbert von Doodle, street art critic, going through and talking about some of the basic, I guess, stickers and art that you see around New York. I'm not in New York City, so I'm not used to seeing these things, but they're pretty funny here. And just like the power of the drawn line. This is nothing, a scribble, yet it has humor and life. I guess that's supposed to be. Sorry, I did my worst French. I think it's supposed to be bad German. But anyways, funny little thing. I guess probably more important for people who live in New York. And then also talking about just like how images do have power and how certain things have become so overused, like the fist in the air, that they almost mean nothing anymore. Just talking about like which messages are like kind of more potent than the other. You know, the one on the right is hostile jury and notes of a father's trust fund. It's like two smarty pants, you know. So going into that, like kind of protest rhetoric is an interesting thing. And then here they have one called The Normies. The madman is going 100 miles straight towards a cliff. It is high time an adult was in charge. I'll fix this mess. I love voting. Thank goodness. Beat it, pal. The people have spoken. And then we're still just driving on a cliff. So that's like, to me, this book is very much just, I feel like someone like me who's kind of a middle person on most things, someone who's like agnostic about most things, someone who tries to remain skeptical and is sick of people being so certain about everything. That's kind of the vibes I got from this. So a lot of time for me to laugh and like crack up during this book. Really enjoyed it. I will be keeping an eye out to see if there's any further issues of Orange Flavor by Micah Rockandroll, and I would suggest you do the same. The Exile by Eric Creek is a gorgeously illustrated Viking saga of revenge. Eric Creek calls it his Viking Western. It's about a guy who's been away on the warpath and is returning home to some family troubles that have to be resolved. And this is told in just this amazing, like, kind of 3-color art style that looks like old woodblock cuts or something. It's absolutely gorgeous book that you've got to pick up.